Hello and welcome to Conspiracy Files. I'm your host, Ethan.
And I'm your other host, Harry. And today we will be looking at how in control and vulnerable we are. If our data is being taken or stolen without us realising, and are our devices listening to us? Our show aims to investigate and inform you on topics you may find unsettling, and to make you more aware of what's happening and things you might not be aware of already.
Firstly, as a disclaimer, our show is completely conspiracy theory based, and everything we are talking about is not confirmed nor created to damage or hurt any companies involved. We are not attempting to sway opinions, but merely present our findings, including facts, statistics, stories, and data, which cannot be denied. In the end, it's your decision whether to believe us.
Today, the first topic we'll be delving into is whether or not our phones are listening to us. Now, this has been a subject to conspiracy for a while, with a study showing nearly 80% of people believe that our devices and apps are listening to us. With more stories emerging, such as Mark Zuckerberg, who delivered a statement to a Senate hearing claiming it's clear he did not do enough to ensure privacy and data was secured safely for all the users of Facebook. Here is Sinead Haynes, who has conducted her own experiment in an attempt to identify whether or not this conspiracy is true.
Like the ads that you see on your social media feed are specifically targeted to you.
Notice that you have a conversation with a friend or a family member and suddenly you see advertisements on your phone's Facebook ad or sponsored posts on your Instagram feed.
Strange instances that make us ask, are our phones and apps listening to our conversation?
Does this seem familiar to you as well? The same story is happening on numerous occasions to many people. Well, in fact, this has actually become a common conspiracy of today and has left people paranoid on their internet privacy. The only person who knows the answer to this is Facebook's owner, Mark Zuckerberg. Back in April 2018, when he was testified in front of the Senate, he was forced to talk about this conspiracy surrounding Instagram and Facebook, and this was his reaction.
Congressman, we're not collecting any information verbally on the microphone, and we don't have contracts with anyone else who is. The only time that we might use the microphone is when you're recording a video or doing something where you intentionally are trying to record audio, but we don't have anything that is trying to listen to what's going on in the background.
But can this be true? Is there too many people that have experienced this? The only way I could find an answer for this conspiracy was to test it out for myself. I firstly went onto Facebook on my phone so it could be open to possibly allow it to listen to my conversation. I then started talking about clothes that I've recently bought from certain brands such as ASOS, Urban Outfitters and Boohoo. A few days after conducting the experiment, I went to check my phone. I looked on Facebook to see all the ads that had popped up. I'd done this a couple of times just to double check, and these were the results. So far I haven't had any adverts pop up for them, apart from one which I found the other day, which was for ASOS. But I don't know if that's the fact that I've bought stuff from there and it's just linked it through my phone, or that I was talking about it. But other than that, I've had no adverts pop up for any other clothes brands, the ones that I mentioned. So in conclusion, although my phone shows no signs that it had been listening to me, it is still unknown whether this conspiracy is true or false.
Well, Harry, what do you think about that, eh? I mean, people have thought for years that their phone's listening to them. I mean, I can say, hey Siri, and my phone will listen to me. But it all depends, because do you think your phone's listening to you when you're doing Amazon and stuff?
I'm inclined to agree with them. I think that our phones are always listening to us. Because, you know, it's in their best interests to listen to what we talk about, because they can use that as advertising and make sure that we buy the things they want us to buy. It's completely wrong, but, you know, I've had instances where I'm texting someone, I'm texting a friend on the phone to them, and I talk about something, and the next thing you know, I'm on Facebook or Instagram and I see that advert. So it's guaranteed.
The second topic we'll be delving into is whether you feel safe using your Alexa and other virtual assistants, and taking a deeper look at what Alexas do and if the privacy concerns around them really matter. Now this is an interesting conspiracy, as the debates surrounding these virtual assistants such as Alexa, Siri and Cortana have all been in the firing line ever since their launch, with people even believing they are recording information that is being sent by the government. Here to tell us more about these virtual AI and asking the public their thoughts regarding this matter is Renee Brown.
In this modern age, technology has become integrated into our lives more than ever before. We rely on our devices to stay connected with the world and those around us. We're even beginning to use technology to control things within our homes. Simple tasks like turning on lights, closing doors, or switching the TV on can now be done without even lifting a finger. If you didn't know it already, these devices are called virtual assistants. In the winter of 2014, Alexas and Google Nest were released into the world for the first time. Upon their release, many people had concerns on whether or not these devices were safe to use or an invasion of privacy.
Can it be hacked? Look, we live in a world where anything can be hacked. Everything that exists can be hacked, but I don't think that's going to be the issue. One of the questions everyone has is, well, if it's always listening, is it the NSA, is it Big Brother? And I guess theoretically you can hack anything, but it's not really likely to happen. They've gone to great lengths to keep that stuff local.
Both Google and Amazon assured the public that these devices are completely safe and do not invade our privacy. Both devices are programmed to only record our voices when a wake word is said, for example, Alexa. They can also be put on mute so that users are in complete control of when they can and can't be listened to. As time has gone on, the privacy concerns around these products have slowly become less talked about, but that doesn't mean they aren't there. I decided to do my own research around this topic to see if these concerns are still around and whether or not they're valid. I sent out a questionnaire to 38 people aged 17 to 24, asking them their opinions on virtual assistants, and here is what I found. 55.3% of people weren't aware that Alexas record and store each and every command you give it. 100% of the people agreed that they are indeed an invasion of privacy. Despite this, more than half of the people still own virtual assistants. Majority of the people who own these devices said they use them mostly for simple things such as checking the weather, news, asking questions, or just to play music, rather than using it to control things like lights or heating within the home. All of these things could be done simply by pressing a few buttons on your phone, which leaves a question: why do we feel the need to rely on virtual assistants, knowing they pose a risk to our privacy when we could do all the things we use them for on our phones? Has today's society become too reliant on its devices? And how far is too far when it comes to privacy around new technology? This is Renee Brown, signing off.
Well, Ethan, we mentioned it briefly before. It's the same predicament, really. I would like to believe that Alexas aren't listening to us simply because they're in our lives too much. They have a mute button, and supposedly that prevents them from listening to us. And, I feel like, the difference really is that, because they are constantly in our house and will pick up on everything we say, that's too much an invasion of our privacy.
It's an interesting topic, isn't it? But we haven't got too much time.
Yeah,
so.
Unfortunately, I think that is all we have time for today. Nonetheless, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to come back for next week's episode, where we'll be investigating the phenomenon of deja vu. I've read that one before, and how this science explains this mysterious yet familiar sensation. Here's a preview for then, but for now,
be careful what you say around your devices, as you never know who or what might be listening. Oh, and Alexa, turn off the light.
Our brain is the most complex part of the human body. The seat of our intelligence, interpreter of the senses, initiator of body movements, and controller of behaviour, with the core areas of our explicit memory included in the hippocampus, neocortex, and the amygdala. But what causes our brain to identify or recall an event, person, or place which ceases yet to exist in the present moment of our life? This common phenomenon is called deja vu.